My guest, Sophie, waited 47 years to marry, but the constant arguments left her crying in her bed. Then they separated. Her heart was broken and she didn't know what to do. But Sophie learned something that reminded her of what her husband fell in love with. And now they are happier and more peaceful than ever. She's going to tell us how she did it so you can do it too. Sophie, welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
This is an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited to hear the whole story, but take us back to the bad old days. What was going wrong?
So I might be a bit emotional, but that's okay. So the bad old days. So really, as a little run-up, I was single, and I always from little wanted to just be married to my best friend. And I had wonderful friends. I had wonderful male friends, some of whom I fell hopelessly in love with, but that was always unrequited. And I had relationships, but they weren't right. And my bridesmaid, I eventually had a bridesmaid, she used to say to me, when you meet them, don't think, can I marry them? Just think, do I want to see them again? Yes or no? And I met my husband online, which I was on and off for years. And when I met him, I literally just wanted to see him again every time I saw him. And actually, since the skills, I now know why I was magnetized to him, but I didn't really know why. I was just I just wanted to be with him all the time. And as a single woman, I had my own house. I was in charge of my own money. I wasn't awful, I'd hope I wasn't totally selfish, but I guess I was by default because I didn't have to look after anyone. If I was annoying anyone, or they were annoyed by me, I could have a break from them, and then we'd come back. But I could, and what I basically did every holiday, I'm a teacher, every holiday I just bought a plane ticket and flew off somewhere. If anything went wrong, anything was bad, I realized I just used to fly off. Anyway, so 2.5 years after meeting my lovely man, he proposed, and it was during COVID, and we got married within 6 weeks, and it was the best day of my life. It was wonderful. And so I skip into this marriage just thinking, literally, this is the man I've been waiting for all my life. And I'm still super thankful that I've met him, and he was worth the wait. But, well, full stop. He is a widower. And they were married 18 years or something, and he's got 2 boys. And you just hear the word widower and carry on, but I didn't realize that's quite a big thing for anyone, for a man. He'd lost his first wife, and the boys had lost their mother. And so I came into this marriage with all these, far too romantic an idea of how it was all going to be. And this was actually a grieving family. And one of the boys said to me, I chose to accept you, and we have a really good relationship. But the other one, and it's his journey, it's his story to tell, but he didn't and hasn't accepted me. And I'd never experienced living with somebody who didn't want me there. So that was really, really, makes me, anyway, bless him, he was going through his own thing, his mum had died, so suddenly this other woman comes into his house, and I'm a teacher. I'm used to children. They're now adults, young adults, but they were 15 and 17 or something. I'm used to in a school, just if someone's rude or disrespectful, there's consequences. Suddenly I had no control. And my wonderful husband loves and adores them and has protected them and cared for them through a lot of trauma. And you don't come between a tiger and their cubs, you know. I did. And I was so controlling, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And we would have massive arguments. And then, but all I wanted to do was make him and actually these boys, I wanted to bring joy and happiness into their home. And I just didn't. I seemed to be making my husband more and more just distant. And I realized I wanted, because the boys were there, I didn't get much time with him. I just wanted to be with him all the time. I mean, looking back, poor guy, I was like I just squashed the life out of him, really. I didn't mean to, but I didn't know. So we'd argue, and I didn't know how to resolve. I tried. And then in my old days, I'd get on a plane. At home now, you know, I could, every now and then I ran across the fields, but then I had to come back home. Not only come back home, come back to our bedroom, to our bed. You know, sometimes I felt really trapped, not because I didn't want to be with him, but I didn't know how to resolve these cold wars, but then we did, and it was lovely, and there was enough loveliness. But anyway, it came to a head when in July last year, 24, I couldn't get my head around the money. How are we sharing this money? What can I spend? What doesn't? And I'd lost it before, but I lost it. I absolutely lost it in a way. Yeah. Anyway, I lost it. And my husband said, I think it's best you go to your parents. But this is the beginning of the good news. So anyway, I went to my sister, actually. And then he didn't, every other time we've resolved, but this time he didn't want to see me. And all I wanted to do was know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So over the 4 years, I'd read books on being a step parent. I'd read books on being a respectful wife. I'd asked him to do marriage counselling and nothing. He didn't want to do counselling. Now I know why, from what you say. But the books didn't work. Nothing worked. I didn't know what to do. And that's when I went to my best friend and her husband, and never mind that. I just was kind of, it was interesting who I went to, just my closest people. And then at 2 a.m, I Googled, I don't know what I Googled, something like, how can I respect my husband? What do I do? I don't know what I Googled, but you appeared like a sort of angel. Don't worry, I know you're human. And you were doing some sort of, I wish I remembered exactly what it was, but some sort of, I think the adored wife, something. And I'm like, and you started talking about these 6 skills. I'm like, whatever these skills are, I need 1 skill. If there's 6, great. So I Googled, I sent off your book, and your book arrived. And I read it. I just read it all. And you there's some preamble at the beginning of your book, The Empowered Wife. I'm like, get on with it. Just tell me what these skills are. And then I was like, maybe they're not in this book. Maybe I bought the wrong book. But they were. And then I went through, I read the book, and it was like, I felt like I'm a Christian. You don't have to be to like these skills, but I felt like God had just put this book in my lap and said, you know what? I think you need a bit more help. This will help you. And it's been amazing. So
there was a meltdown about finances,
wow.
we're in a rage of some kind. It sounds like I used to do. And this caused this rift where he was saying, don't come home. Like,
Yeah.
don't come home. Which
Yeah.
is so painful.
And then he then, and he was lovely, like in terms of saying, you know, it's your home, but if you come home, we'll go stay somewhere else. And I didn't want to go home if he wasn't there. So,
Oh,
and then he said, it's broken.
is it
And at no point did I ever not, like, this is the man I wanted to be with, but I just didn't know how to be a different me. Not a completely different me, but I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't know how to go from being a single, carefree woman to a wife. I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to. Anyway, so what I did, I also then joined your ridiculously happy wife community. And I was on a school holiday, so I had this time. So I just straight away went on this coaching, and I realized the first thing I realized in a kind of, you call them aha moments, it was like a bolt from the blue, like, was that I was a kind of addicted to him. And my friends, when I got married, a few of them had said, don't lose you. I was like, what do you mean don't lose you? I'm still me. I'm just in a different situation. Of course I'm going to be different. But they were right. I just wanted to be with him so much that I stopped doing the things that brought me joy. And I seemed to be kind of wanting him to make me happy. And as a single woman, I'd got really good at making me happy because I refused to have a miserable life, you know, and I didn't have a miserable life. So then I was like, right, so this is the weird bit, not weird, but in the 2 weeks of separation, I actually had a wonderful time, weirdly, because I did things for me that brought me joy. I saw these close friends, just me with them. I would go and sit amongst the flowers because it was July. I love gardening. I would have coffees. I lit a fire in our fire pit. When I did go home and he went somewhere else, and I did all sorts of things that brought me joy. So that was a real thing. And then he agreed to have an online FaceTime call. We did this once before I read the book, and it was 2 hours of getting nowhere. Just getting nowhere.
Oh.
But then after the book, we then agreed, that friend, bless him, just was exhausted by being on that call. But then my best friend, her husband, said, no, we'll be on the call. And by then, I thought, right, I've got to say, I hear you. So I let him talk for ages, which I realized I'd never done. Because I always wanted to be the one to make him happy. So he'd start to say something and I'd interrupt and tell him how to make it better. But this time I just said, I hear you. I hear you. And then I would said things like, you know, I apologize for being disrespectful when I was controlling with your boys, you know, and so I don't think he was expecting me to be quiet. I wasn't expecting to be quiet. But then you said, you know, turn up to everything as if it's a date. So I had a new dress. I washed my hair. I found a beautiful field. I sat against a hay bale right as the sun was setting. I thought, fine, I'm going to make this just a fabulous, gorgeous moment. And he said, gosh, you look beautiful. And I actually felt kind of beautiful.
He said you were beautiful?
Yes.
Oh
so that was a win. That was a win.
I know. Were you inside going, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
I was. I was. And then, you know, I'd make myself put duct tape. One of those, the first call after the skills was quite hard because I listened to everything that he was saying without interrupting. That was hard. But
what was he saying?
Well, actually, I luckily can't really remember. I think he was just spewing out I genuinely can't, because now I'm trying, I think all his frustrations, maybe I was so busy thinking, don't interrupt. I maybe wasn't listening so much. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Well, but you weren't defending.
No,
You weren't arguing or contradicting or trying to plead your case. And so
no.
this that made a difference. It sounds like he felt heard, even though
Yeah,
I get it, right? At that moment, the best you could do was just tell yourself don't interrupt. And
yeah.
it was the best thing you could have done, it sounds like.
It was. It was. And then some of the things were hard, but then I made myself, one of the skills is gratitude. And I made myself send him 3 gratitudes. And actually, when I sent the 3 gratitudes by text, I actually felt genuinely grateful. I put the call down actually feeling quite bashed. But then when I wrote the gratitudes, that was my first experience in the skills of, what if you focus on the evidence, good evidence, it can change your whole mood, your whole dance. Anyway, so that felt like quite a win. And then we had another FaceTime call. And again, I planned it so I was in a wood, beautiful wood, and I was in actually a really quite good mood because I'd been doing things to make me. I mean, I'd flip between heartbroken and in a good mood, but I felt I had these skills that I could use. And then, and actually that call was quite fun. We had it was quite a fun call. And then he said, well, look, you come home and we'll go to somewhere else. And then I'll come back at the weekend, on the Tuesday. And I didn't know if that meant I had to leave or whatever. But anyway, I went home and he came back a day earlier. And we were both really delighted to see each other.
Oh,
And then we went out for dinner. And this is a man who doesn't say much emotional stuff. But he looked at me and he said, oh, this makes me... He looked at me and he said, can I just say, I am so impressed by how you've been these last 2 weeks. He said, I don't know what... No, he didn't. He said, you have dug so deep and you've won me back. And thank you. And I just... And then I remembered I needed to receive graciously. So I said, thank you. Again, well. And inside I'm like, he said, I won you back. But the thing is, I didn't feel like I was being any better. I just felt like I was doing it differently. I just felt like I had some tools to do it right. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sophie, I hear so many skills, like you threw every skill in such a short time, right? Like you were apologizing. There was gratitude. There was duct tape. There was, I hear you. So you were
the whole thing.
The whole thing. Oh, so, and you were treating everything like a date and you were making yourself happy, even though you were also so heartbroken. I mean, this was like the best of times and the worst of times, this 2 weeks. So, and all of these things, require some courage, some stretching, right? In some ways, they can be uncomfortable to issue an apology. You probably didn't think it was so much your fault. He's the one that said it's better if you leave.
Yeah. And there are things so at the time, I was so excited to have the skills and use them and see the effects. I think so that was August. We're now in February. And it's been up and down. I'm certainly not on here saying, I've now arrived, I'm now fabulous. I'm now running seminars on how fabulous things are. But they are good. But it's been up and down and it has been hard. It has been hard implementing the skills on a daily basis because they're all in line with my faith. It's not anything weird. They're really amazing skills, but it's just changing. I'm 52 now, changing 52 years of me. That was never going to happen in a month or in 2 weeks, so and then it was interesting at the weekend, my bridesmaid, as I call it, I was telling her how excited that I was doing this and I was excited and she looked concerned and puzzled, not puzzled, she just looked concerned. And I made myself stay on my paper, not kind of get defensive. You see what I mean? I'm always thinking about it still. Not to try and control how she was responding to what I was telling her.
Mm.
And then she said, I do have one concern. Can I tell you? And I thought, oh, here we go. And she said, do you really think it's all your fault? That everything is always your fault? And then I read this quote by Elizabeth Elliot, but it was something like, because of course it's not all my fault.
No, of course.
And a lot of it, half of it is his, but I can't change him, as you say. None of this is about trying to change him, but it's like, so this Elizabeth Elliot quote was along the lines of, you can't change the wind, but you can change the sails. And I realized my husband taught me to physically sail. He taught me to sail, and I love it. And when I absolutely love it, he taught me how to pull in the ropes right, the sails right, the tiller, I don't know the name of it all, but he told me what to do, and I can do it. And I'd come off the boat so exhilarated. And all the discussion wasn't, oh, the wind was rubbish, I should have changed the wind. It's like, what went well and what could I improve on? And I realized he taught me to physically sail. And then through our marriage, without him realizing it, he's teaching me how to set my sails in life, really. So I can't change him, but the skills are helping me pull my sails and so that it doesn't matter where the wind is or whatever. I'm learning how to set my boat so everyone wins, and I don't have to complain about the wind because I just change me. Yeah. All that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. So your bridesmaid, she was concerned that you were taking on too much blame, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You'd be becoming a doormat.
Yes.
I think a lot of people make that assumption, right, when they hear about the intimacy skills. But for you, it didn't feel it sounds like it was just the opposite. You've become a good sailor in your marriage by being able to control, I don't know the sailing terms either, but the mast.
No,
adjusting you're chill. And
so in that, sorry.
Well, it sounds like the opposite of being a doormat. It sounds like you feel empowered.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm not at the mercy of. Yeah, I do. I feel empowered. It's brilliant.
Did you at any point though feel like I have to suck it up, like I have to, I don't know, squish things down and not give my opinion, like in a kind of an oppressed way?
No, the only time I think that is still the case is with his younger son, because I'm so opinionated on what I think young people should be doing or shouldn't be doing. And
well, you're a teacher too, right?
I know I'm a teacher, and and who knows what sort of mum I would have been. I don't know. So I do, in that respect. But there are other times, no, because I'm still able to say I feel this. But what I do now, for a couple of friends who know that I'm in the program, sometimes I will ring them or text them and just go about something. And I've learned that he doesn't need to hear that. And then they'll reply going, that must be annoying. And then it's fine again. So no, I don't feel. But I mean, my boat has capsized again, and then I came back onto the program, and within a week I was back on track. And so I think I need the community, actually.
Me too, Sophie. I feel the same way. So, but I love this distinction you just made, which is I need to say things, but he doesn't need to hear it. So you take it somewhere else, so you can have that feeling rise and naturally subside, give it its day in the sun. And then it doesn't have to land on him as criticism or control or disrespect. So it doesn't hurt the intimacy.
Yeah.
So both can be true.
Yeah, and I don't always get that right, but I think as our relationship gets stronger, it's easier to. Well, actually, to be honest, there's just far more to be grateful and happy about
Yeah.
because all the in terms of looking for evidence of what's going well, it's great. I'm so cheesy now, but you kind of change your. I'm changing my head to not what's going wrong, but what's right. So,
Yeah.
but I do, as I say, I'm still. I'll come back to your coach, your online community, because just to hear other women run alongside, and you're all talking about what's going right. There's no what's going wrong moaning. I don't want to moan about him. I just, so yeah.
Yeah. And yes. So this is the Ridiculously Happy Wife, the group coaching program you're talking about, where we have a very strict structure.
Yeah.
You can bring your challenges there, of course, but
Yeah.
got to start with two wins.
Start with what's going well. Yeah.
Start with what's going well. Right. And so that's what I hear you. And you kind of have given us a really good glimpse of how you love the skills. They really fit with your philosophy of life. They match your faith. And they're not so hard to do, but they are new, so they take some focus. And then when I think of it like a language. When I'm not, if you know a second language and then you don't speak it for a while, you start to forget it. And so having the community kind of reminds you of why you want to practice the gratitude and the respect and the duct tape and and all of it. So Sophie, what is your marriage like now?
It's fun. It's playful. It's intimate. I feel like I have married my best friend, and I'm so thankful for him for sticking with me and helping me learn to be a better me, really. And it's happy. I'm happy.
It's great to hear. Congratulations. I know it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of courage and just the openness, the vulnerability, the beautiful vulnerability I just saw from you actually. This softness, I can imagine your husband's very attracted to that. But it's not always easy. Like it feels a little uncomfortable sometimes to
Yeah.
be this vulnerable, and yet you've done it. So good on you. Yeah, it's really sweet. It's really
But
sweet.
it's ongoing. I want to reiterate, it's ongoing. The results are so rewarding, so rewarding. So everything's hard, isn't it? So why not do hard where everything's better rather than just it's hard? So it's worth it. So
Yeah, it was hard being separated as well from your best.
oh gosh, that was
Heartbreaking.
yeah, that was heartbreaking.
How do you think this has affected the two boys, your bonus boys?
My bonus boys. Um, I hope that they see where that the older one met up with with a mentor recently, and then who texted me saying he feels very settled and happy at home because he's come back to live with us. And I just thought that's good because he feels safe and happy at home. And he did say to me when I came back, he said, "I'm so glad you married Dad and he didn't marry anyone else." And that was massive.
Wow.
The younger one, I'm learning to use the skills with him. We talk about self-fulfilling prophecies, spouse-fulfilling prophecies. For him, it's a stepson-fulfilling prophecy, where he's a thoughtful young man and our relationship's growing. So that's where we are with, but I feel I can try and use the skills with him.
And that must feel good as opposed to just feeling like you're in an intractable situation with where it feels tense and there's conflict, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to remember to do it.
That's
But yeah,
great.
no. Yeah.
Well, this is tremendous. I'm very impressed with not just how you fixed your marriage, but how quickly you did it and how well you applied yourself to the skills. They take a little getting used to. Um, a lot of people, they feel they're so unfamiliar. It's not what we've been taught, a lot of us. But it seems like you just dove in and took them on just brilliantly so quickly. So I just want to congratulate you on your success.
Oh, thank you.
What is what is it you would say to Sophie if you could go back in time and tell her what you know now?
I'm not, this is a harder one because I'm not sure. I would give her a great big hug. I'm not sure I would have been able to hear all this then. I was still in a Cinderella bubble. But I think I would love to give her your Empowered Wife book and say, you're going to be okay. Read this when you're ready. That's what I do. And because this will really help you. And yeah, that's what I'd say.
Well, and I love this because it's true. When you were feeling like Cinderella at the ball, there was no motivation, there's no inspiration for picking up a marriage self-help book, right? It wasn't until there was a lot of pain. I mean, the pain can be a gift in a way to
Yeah.
to cause transformation. And I love how you're starting with a hug for yourself, like very, very gentle, right? Self-loving. What's your tip for someone who's in your situation that you were in, where they've just separated and she's feeling heartbroken and hopeless about it? It doesn't know what to do. What what would you suggest she start with?
I would suggest she bought the book, joined your ridiculously happy wife community, and but if she didn't want to, I would say do do 3 things a day that makes your heart sing. Just do things, and yeah, I think that's the biggest one. And I'm so conscious how few people do that actually. Now that I'm aware that that's a good thing to do, so I'd say those 3 things.
Well, yeah, the indispensable first step to having a great relationship is making yourself happy. So I love that.
Yeah.
That is such a smart tip.
Like love your neighbor as you love yourself. I never thought about loving myself benefits everyone. So
Right.
I'm now busy loving myself. And if anyone benefits, brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like they really do. It sounds like your husband wanted to make you happy all along. And now
Yeah.
that you're so happy.
Bless him. He's
And
amazing.
your original quest was you wanted to make him happy as well.
Yes, but what I've learned is I can't make him happy. I can make me happy, and he seems a lot happier because I'm happy. So I haven't made him happy. He's become happier. I mean, I haven't asked him, but the way he is with me, he seems a lot happier because we're more
Yeah.
fun and relaxed together.
Yeah. So you can tell there's some relief there. Um, just you being happier is bringing this culture of happiness to your home, and I give you all the credit for creating that by making yourself happy. In fact, Sophie, I would like to present you with my best wife award.
There it is.
You
That will go on the
earned
mantelpiece.
You've earned it. That's right. Yes, put it on your mantelpiece because
It's too much.
it's incredible what you've done, right? I mean, so many times a separation is the beginning of an end and it leads to a tragic divorce and people get hopeless and they don't know what to do. But you not only searched until you found something to do, but you had the courage and the commitment, and you were vulnerable, and you did it. And it's a huge success. And I can't think of anything that I think is more important. So well done.
Thank you. And honestly, thank you in capitals, bold, to Homer font. Thank you for writing. Yeah, thank you for everything you've done and what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm so glad we found
Yeah.
each other. It's wonderful to be on this journey with you together, because I still need the community just as much as anybody to keep my marriage shiny as well. So thank you for the inspiring story of what's possible, Sophie.
You're welcome.
For more of the proven secrets on how to make your marriage playful and passionate without his conscious effort, check this out.